Let's start talking about AI fatigue. There's a new thing that really shocked everybody, the video and audio models, these VO models.
They left behind a ball today.
So you can see owl jumping down talking to, what is that, a badger? There's a great video which is this prompt theory video.
We're not prompts. We're not prompts.
Anyone who tells you we're just ones and zeros is delusional. If that's all we are, then why does it hurt when we lose someone?
There's another topic in the world. Will the rate of AI improvement continue at this pace, or is a step change breakthrough needed soon? A good take on this, I think, is hey everyone, welcome to the Scott Stephenson AI show. We're here today to rant about AI, and we've got some doozies today. Let's start talking about AI fatigue, and I think it's setting in. I think we all feel it. You know, I feel it, sure. Others out there have to feel it. AI has been around for a long time, though. It dates all the way back to the 60s. It's been like 60 years going on, but it's been like burning on the back burner. You know, and then maybe like the 80s, it flared up a little bit, like a lot of things in the 80s. And then you know, kind of chilled out a little bit and came back late 90s a little bit. And then in the 2000s and 2010s is when it really came on strong, right? And a lot of folks just didn't see that. You know, they weren't part of that. It didn't affect their everyday life, right? Well, AI is affecting everybody's daily life now, and it seems like every day, you know, every hour, every week, certainly a new LLM is released, a new AI model, a new capability, a new product, a new company raises 10 million here, 100 million there, a billion there, et cetera. And everybody's kind of sick of it. I get it, you know. But also, we're in the intelligence revolution, and it's kind of like getting sick of talking about the internet in 1994. The internet is like all that happened in the last 20 or 30 years. Well, guess what? In the next 20 or 30 years, all that's going to happen is AI. So yeah, we're going to get sick of it. It's going to be tiring. It's going to suck. Everybody's going to have to retool a little bit. But, you know, also you get to do a whole bunch of other stuff that you couldn't do before. Some of it pretty awesome. Some of it questionable. We'll find new ways to waste our time and that type of thing. But hey, it's here. But speaking of AI fatigue and what may fatigue AI founders like myself, a new AI report has come out. This is a Mary Meeker report on, I think it's a trends report on AI, and I think it's the first of its kind. And folks may remember that Mary has put out an internet report for the past, I don't know, at least 10 years, probably 20 is before it was around and a staple in the VC and startup diet when I started to get into tech over a decade ago. But now there's a new one, and it's the AI report, and man, is it big. It's 420 pages, I think, or somewhere around there. It's mostly plots. Don't get me wrong. You're not reading text the whole time, okay? And this is coming from a VC, and VCs like up and to the right plots, you know, starts on the bottom, goes up and to the right. So you see a lot of things that are growing. You see AI adoption, you see chat GPT growth, you see all of that. These are all the beginning signs of an AI revolution. We get it. But also, like from an AI practitioner, from an AI builder perspective, somebody who's been building this for a while, you might kind of roll your eyes at all of this and say like, yeah, I know. That's why everybody's been working on AI for the last decade, and it should be no surprise that the adoption and the efficacy is going up over time. It absolutely is. And so, you know, maybe glance at the report. Maybe I'd look at it as like a rite of passage, essentially, for AI. AI is now extremely fully mainstream because even the lagging indicators, like VCs making big reports about AI, are happening. And surely the Gartner Magic Quadrants are about to form and all of that. So keep your eye out for those. But, you know, are they going to contain the most cutting edge material for how you should be adapting to AI? Probably not. It's a lagging indicator. If you look back in time, you say, okay, that's cool. Many of these things happened. I guess I didn't necessarily know all of those pieces. So maybe check it out. But, you know, there are a few takeaways from it are that over $50 billion was dumped into AI over the last year. Half of it went to about 10 companies. The rest went to a whole bunch of other startups that are trying to build, and some of that just goes to charity. Well, I mean, like those companies don't turn into anything, but others turn into big companies for the next, companies for the next few years or the next decade or next 2 decades. I'm sure we've all noticed every app has AI in it. Going back to the AI fatigue, tell me about it. We're a little sick of it all, right? We get it. But a lot of those apps are like Clippy in a trench coat. It's just, there's still more to be built in each of them. But your new dealer now is NVIDIA. In the new currency of the world is GPUs. And if you got GPUs, great. And if you don't have GPUs, well, you're looking for GPUs. And that makes sense. Everybody's trying to do AI now. People should think about making AI more efficient, though. But make better use of those GPUs. But nevertheless, demand is going to keep going up. And but those GPUs are being bought like crazy. It's like Beanie Babies in 1997. I remember the Princess Diana. I remember it. My mom had to have it. Well, guess what? Every enterprise AI out there in the world is trying to get to secure their GPU bag, to do their deals with the hyperscalers, to go buy stuff directly from NVIDIA. It's what it happened. It's what's happening. They may not know exactly why they need it yet. They don't necessarily have a clue, just like Beanie Babies, and it's just vibes right now. But yeah, it's happening, and it's going to continue to happen, and that's not slowing down. It's not just. I know. It all sounds like hype. It's not just hype, though. There is hype. Let's be clear. There's hype. There's a lot of hype. Okay, but it's not just hype. This is not cryptocurrency 3 years ago. This is real use cases being shipped, but still, there's a lot of people buying stuff even though they don't need to. So a couple other things from that report, or in general, getting the vibe of everything. The AI agents are still not quite like out there autonomously doing all of your work for you. Maybe a good way to look at this is, your interns, they're your interns, but they're on drugs. So they'll say they'll do everything, but they hallucinate a lot. So, it's okay. You got to check on the kids, So, maybe one final takeaway is that, Meta made some big moves. Actually, I saw a tweet recently from Jan LeCun as well. That's talking about how Meta is the actual open source. They did PyTorch, and the entire world is, well, most of AI is built on top of PyTorch now. They launched Llama, then Llama 2, then everything is, there's a lot being built on top of the Llama models and everything now. I get that. Llama's free range, they're going to town, and it brings up what is OpenAI up to, and we've heard some of the murmurs there, but they haven't come out with an open source model in a long time. And Llama is the one that's going to town there, and open source is catching up. We'll talk about that in a minute too, when we're talking about DeepSeek, because there's a new DeepSeek out. But there's a question I wanted to ask, and are big models really better? GPT 4.5 is out. There's a lot of talk about like, hey, are we hitting the end of our data pool, and we're not able to train more into the models? Now, I wouldn't say that is true. Yes, it's harder to get clean data, and also now when you go out and crawl the web, you're going to get a lot of generative AI junk that you scrape, and so you're kind of there's a feedback loop there that may not be desirable. But the models are really big now. I think hundreds of billions of parameters. There really aren't trillion parameter models yet. And that question of, are bigger models better? I mean, if they were, why not build a trillion parameter model? Why not a 10 trillion parameter model? Like, there are real constraints to all of this. It takes a lot of memory to host these models. It takes a lot of energy and compute in order to host these models. And then when you make the model really big, can you even take advantage of it? Do you have enough data and enough of a goal for the model to try to achieve to utilize all of these new neurons and brain cells? And I think we've hit a pretty good sweet spot right now with tens to hundreds of billions of parameters of models in the text models, like the chat models, like ChatGPT, that type of thing. So, I wouldn't look for the size of the models to get drastically bigger in the next 2 months or year or something like that. I think the capabilities are going to get much better. So you're going to see context length. You're going to see more. You're going to see more reasoning models, but reasoning models are going to put pressure on the model size to make the model smaller. The reason for that is reasoning models need a lot more tokens. So think like 5 times or 10 times as many tokens in order to get to the same result. So you need the model to be faster. One of the only ways to make the models faster is to make it smaller. So you make it smaller and smarter. And so I think that pressure is not going to, or like that pressure will keep the size around like the 100 billion parameter mark, not the trillion or 10 trillion parameter mark. But speaking of models that have come out, a new DeepSeek is out, and it's DeepSeek 0528, and it's better than the original. And I don't see people losing their minds as much right now, but maybe they should. I don't know, because they overreacted for the first one. Maybe they're underreacting for the second one here. But 0528 is better than the original DeepSeek. There's no extra like massive compute costs associated with the new models. They're just updates. But the DeepSeek team has been hard at work training the models, making them much better. And I think the world right now, again, going back to that AI fatigue scenario, they're kind of just sick of it all. They're tired, man. Another DeepSeek model. Big deal. Yeah, we knew it was coming. Another Quinn model, another Llama, another whatever. Everybody's kind of like losing interest because like, yeah, like new models come out all the time. So what? What have you done for me lately? Where's the beef, et cetera. They're getting into this kind of mindset. But I think there is something to think about, which is this like US to China conversation. The US has the largest GDP in the world. China's at number 2. And there's a race to AI dominance that's happening right now. And DeepSeek models are getting better. Quinn models are getting better. These are open source models that anybody can use and train. And in the US, like Llama's probably the best open source model that comes out of the US, but it has a more restrictive license. So the like DeepSeek and Quinn not as restrictive. So there's a bit of a war going on right now that in AI and open source AI, actually the most free-ish models. Okay, we could talk about their content, but like the actual weights in the code that run them, they're freely open source coming out of China, not so freely open source coming out of the U.S. So that's an interesting situation right now. But the new model is supposed to support like JSON output better and that type of thing. But yeah, I think it's just another day in the text LLM world of releasing a whole bunch of models, and the U.S. and China are going to be locking horns for a long time on this front. The U.S. companies that love open source release more models, release better models, release them with less restrictive licenses. Come on, okay. Anyway, there's a new thing that really shocked everybody in the last couple weeks, which is Google coming out with a whole slew of AI products, but probably the one that got everybody's attention the most are the video and audio models, these VO models that they're talking about, which is like VO2 and VO3. And VO3 is obviously the cool one, right? It has a higher number. It means it's better, right? Okay. But let's look at a video from VO3 right here.
They left behind a ball today. It bounced higher than I can jump.
So you can see guy walking down the hall, owl jumping down, talking to, what is that, a badger? I guess. A good take on this, I think, is video generation is now out of the silent movie era. It used to be that you could just generate video and it didn't have any audio with it. And now Google allows you, with their new models, to produce videos that have audio synced to them, and they sound really good. And we just saw some of the ones from Google that are cherry picked, that are politically correct, that are all great and everything. But let's look at what some users have produced. There's a great video, which is this prompt theory video. Let's pull it up.
A girl told me we're made of prompts. Like, seriously, dude. You're saying the only thing standing between me and $1 billion is some random text?
Honestly, the biggest red flag is when the guy believes in the prompt theory. Like, really? We came from prompts? Wake up, man.
You want to convince me that this perfect creation behind me is the result of ones and zeros? A binary code and nothing more? It makes no sense.
Imagine you're in the middle of a nice date with a handsome man and then he brings up the prompt theory. Yuck. We just can't have nice things.
We're not prompts. We're not prompts.
Where is the prompt writer to save you from me? Where is he?
You still believe we're made of prompts?
Anyone who tells you we're just ones and zeros is delusional. If that's all we are, then why does it hurt when we lose someone?
Vote for me and I'll ban the prompt theory from schools. There's no place for that nonsense in our lives.
For spreading the false theory that we are nothing but ones and zeros, this court sentences you to 12 years in federal custody.
I don't need some prompt god whispering in my ear to tell a story. I write what I want. I have free will, remember that?
I know for a fact we're made of prompts. Deny it all you want. The signs are everywhere.
So all of those videos were just a prompt. You type in text like the jokes that are being made, or guy standing on stage in a comedy club tells joke. Joke is, you know how I know it's all fake. Well, we used to have 7 fingers, now we have 5, etc. Like, nothing makes sense. Yeah, it was all just words. You just wrote down words, and then all of those videos were generated, and the audio to go along with them was generated for each of those clips that you saw. So yeah, it's kind of insane now, right? Like, you can just generate a video that is, you know, you could see how this would very easily turn into a Hollywood movie quality. Now, there's a lot of work to do to get it to follow an entire plot and get the right imagery and have consistency across like an hour-and-a-half movie and that type of thing. This is why these clips are only like 5 seconds or 10 seconds, etc. But you can clearly see that this is all real. You know, audio generation is real, video generation is real. It gets the point as well when you describe it, you know, tell a joke about this, etc. And then you see the people laughing in the background, you see the low lights, you hear the person talking on the mic, and it sounds just like they're in a comedy club. You know, that's real. It's all real now. And this is just the beginning. Again, this is the worst it'll ever be. You know, it's just going to continue to get better after this. So VO's dope, sound and video dope. And also the people out there having fun building or, you know, making videos and showing them to everybody else, kind of poking fun at the fact that, yeah, the world's getting real weird, real fast. You can just, with one sentence or two, generate a video like that. Pretty amazing. Last week we put out a video, and a few folks asked some questions about had some topics suggested or asked some questions. And so we're going to go into that round right now. So had a question asked about evals in Gen AI. So general idea here is evals is evaluation. So how do you evaluate generative AI? So probably what they mean by generative AI too is just like modern AI. Probably doesn't have to only generate, but chatbots, audio understanding, audio generation, video understanding, video generation, website understanding, website generation. All these things are AI that are happening now. And the question is, how do you evaluate them? You know, and what about evals? And man, it is tricky. In evals in AI are it can be easy to game. That's one of the trickiest parts. So the general idea here is you take like a data set and maybe you label it yourself, or you go out and record it. Like, let's say you've got some text, you've got some audio, and you've got some video, okay? These are all 3 unstructured data sets. And maybe for the text, you have some question answering. So you have a question, then you have an answer. You have another question, you have another answer, et cetera. And these answers all make sense. If we as humans read them, we would say, oh, those answers make sense, right? Well, in the audio, you might have somebody speaking in a recording, and then maybe it's a conversation between two people. And you say, well, that conversation makes sense. This person says this thing, the other person says that thing, then it leads to this, next thing leads to that, et cetera. Same thing for video. You go through that process and say, well, there's a duck here, or there's an owl, and there's a badger, and the owl swoops down and then talks to the badger and does this, etc. And it's a real video that you then label. Okay. Now, once you label that data set, you can create this evaluation data set and open it to the world. You can say, here's the text, here's the audio, here's the video. As soon as you did that, you basically just burned that data set, because now anybody could use that data set in their training data. And that's one of the biggest tricks here with evals and AI right now, is if anytime you create an eval and then you export it to the world, anybody could game the system. And I'll tell you, a lot of gaming the system happens, and it may not be explicit, like explicitly including the evals in the training set, which trains the models explicitly to get that right. But you could take a text or audio or video that looks like each of those, and it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it could be very similar. And then you feed your model a whole bunch of examples like that, and now it gets good at that style. And then you take the evaluation data set, you run it on it, and you say, whoa, oh my God, we did really well on that. And then everybody says, whoa, you're at the top of the leaderboard. And this is the gaming that's happening all over the place. And so there's just like a fundamental problem with evals. If you trust just public evals, they're going to be gamed by most companies. It's just true. The more intellectually honest companies might not do it, and some of them don't. But the many companies, especially new ones, especially ones that are just releasing a model, et cetera, they're going to try and game the system because they want to get notoriety, they want to get attention. So evals and AI, big problem. Another question here is, will the rate of AI improvement continue at this pace, or is a step change breakthrough needed soon? So some backstory to this is some people are seeing that the new models that are coming out, the new LLMs, are not getting like drastically better. They're getting a little bit better in tests that folks are doing. And I think that's actually it's a couple things that are happening at the same time, which is you're running into physical limits of the GPUs and GPU systems that can train the models. So you can't 10x the memory in the next 2 years or 1 year. So you're running up against those limits. You also can't 10x the literal power, like watts that go into it. So you're running into these physical limits, but I don't think that's the only thing that's happening here. You're also running into data set limits as well. Like, you don't have all the data sets in the world. But I don't think any of these are really the problem with what's happening right now. I think if the companies focused on those things, they could improve significantly. I think really what's happening is AI is spending a lot of money, and if you're training these models at massive scale, you're burning tons of money. And if you're hosting these at massive scale, you're typically burning tons of money too. You're not necessarily making it, you're losing money. So most of these AI companies are losing money all over the place, and their models are extremely inefficient, and the way that they deploy them is extremely inefficient. And so they don't want to say, let's burn money at 10 times the rate now. And so actually they're kind of pulling back and saying, okay, we're willing to spend, we're willing to lose like $100 billion a year, but we're not willing to lose 10 billion a year. Okay. And so with that in mind, there's just a few companies out there like the big LLMs that are spending that kind of money. And this is the feeling I think that people are getting, is that actually AI is trying to become, at least not lose as much money per unit time right now. And I think that's a big deal. But yeah, we're going to need some breakthroughs in GPUs, in memory bandwidth, in memory and in power production and that type of thing, and data sets and all of it. And then just know-how and focus in order to make it better. But I think to talk about the original question though, like will it continue at this pace? Probably not in text. So text is probably going to kind of run up against that wall. But agent systems that use text are going to continue to improve at a drastic rate because they haven't been developed all that well yet. text or audio and video are going to improve at a massive rate because, well, they haven't been developed as much yet. So you're going to see some things running up against the boundaries, but there are other areas that are going to continue at a huge clip. And so I'll say that it won't feel like AI progress will slow down. It'll just feel like it's slowing down in certain areas. In other areas, it's going to be speeding up massively. One other question, which is somebody asked, what's my take on trust? And this is an interesting question because it actually goes both ways. Trust, safety, that type of thing. And there's many things that go into this. Like, what about the data sets? What about the responsible use of power in order to do AI? What about the responsive use of your resources and keeping pollution in check while you build the chips? What about all of it, right? There's a whole bunch. And what about the people that are going to be affected by this technology? What about the people who train it? What about the people who label the data? What about everything? And this is something that, like, we're all just going to have to figure out as time goes on. I'll say that the first line of defense here is you just follow the laws that are there in the world right now. But then you have some societal norms, and then you try and figure that out too. But some societal norms are going to be broken, just like the telephone did to societal norms before with writing letters, or the internet did to telephones, and now AI will do to the internet and telephones and all the other things before it. So we're gonna have a lot of figuring out to do in a short period of time over these next 10 or 20 years. But just like selfies were invented, in the last 20 years, we're going to have new AI stuff like that. And we're all just going to have to get used to it. And from a trust and safety side, we're going to have to follow the laws, and we're going to have to create new laws or new regulations. But we're also going to have to be like, hey, we're a capitalist society that believes in free trade and this type of thing, and that humans generally find the right solution. And when there's something that is definitely nefarious that is happening, then you write laws or establish new social norms against that. So I think there's one other side to this which I think is neglected in the conversation, which is what about the angle that there's a lot of suffering in the world, and we've seen as humankind that the more that technology advances, the more that humankind learns as time goes on. So from the agricultural revolution to the industrial revolution to the information revolution and now to this intelligence revolution, that the GDP of the world goes up over time, and the GDP per capita, so on average, the dollar amount that each person makes in the world goes up over time. And that's inflation adjusted as well. And it goes up exponentially. And so there's this idea that if you diffuse the technology as fast as you possibly can, then everybody in the world benefits faster. Now, totally recognize that it's not distributed homogeneously. First world countries get the technology first, and then it diffuses everywhere else, et cetera. But the general idea is, like, if you want to get this, or if you want to have a balanced, fair, safe way to get AI out into the world, you don't want to just slow it down. You also want to think about, how do we need to speed this up so we can help out the entire world? So there's a balance all over the place. There's a balance with laws, there's balance with social norms, there's balance with speeding it up and slowing it down. And also you have to remember, hey, you're going to be going up against China. You're going to be going up against Russia. You're going to be going up against many different countries in the world too. So you don't want to just put the brakes on everything and say whoa, stop all development because it feels weird. Well, technology development feels weird. But you also don't want to say sprint forward, who cares? Well, you want both, okay? You want to build the future that you actually want to live in. So we're gonna have to get comfortable with some new things, and we'll take some lumps along the way. But overall, actually, what I see from top AI companies is everybody's really thoughtful about this kind of thing. The technical teams are thoughtful about it. The go-to-market teams are thoughtful about it. They have their own trust and safety teams that work on it. And yeah, my take is actually they're doing a pretty good job, even though they may not be doing the best job communicating that they're doing it well. They're generally doing a pretty good job. There's another topic in the world that I think, piggybacking on what we were just talking about, how this technology is going to be diffused in the world, how are we going to do it safely, how are we going to do it fast enough, slow enough, etc. Hey, we're going to have missteps along the way, or we're going to have learning moments, where you try something and it doesn't work out yet, or maybe it never works out, or maybe your first attempt taught you a lot and you'll have to do it better the next time you do it. And so there have been some companies out there that have been in the news and talking about how they have deployed AI agents into their business, and it's working really well. Some of them say, hey, it's working really well. It's great, awesome, and never been better. There are some companies out there that say, hey, we deployed our customer service agents or others, and we lost that human touch, and actually we didn't satisfy our customers as well as we'd like to, and it didn't work with our brand as much, and folks wanted to talk to a real human. I think you're going to see both of this in the world, but I think there is an undeniable trend that is going to happen. And you look no further back than the information revolution. Sure, people like to talk to other people. We're social animals. This is what we do. Okay, but in 1960s and 1970s, when computers were invented, we didn't say we'll never use computers, we'll never use phones, we'll never use telecommunications devices whatsoever, because we want to have everything to have the human touch. We're going to use paper, we're going to write it down, we're going to do all this. Okay, yes, you want some of that some of the time, you get it. But a lot of the other time, especially like the back office kind of mundane work and that type of thing, you want the technological system to just handle it for you so you don't have to worry about it. This is going to be a very similar thing with AI agents right now. A lot of back office type work is going to be helped through AI. A lot of customer facing roles are going to be helped through AI as well. So it's a horrible customer experience if you're trying to get a hold of a real human, but the wait is 2 hours. You'll have a better experience if you talk to an AI agent that gives you a lot of information, but then says, hey, I'll have my human friend call you back and you guys can just talk for a couple minutes. But I took care of the 90% that you needed, and then the human can take care of the other weird 10%. Okay, that's going to be a normal thing that's going to happen. You're gonna establish a good relationship with brands that way. And so the companies that are coming out and saying, hey, I tried it, it didn't work, that really is, I think they should, everybody should take that as, well, they tried a version of the software that's probably a year or 2 years old, and they tried to implement it in a way that they thought would work a year or two ago, and now they have a result that says, well, it didn't work exactly the way we thought it would work. Okay, well, it's new technology. Yeah, everybody's going to iterate, and then you'll try a new version of it. But I'll just tell you, from the AI practitioner perspective, this stuff isn't going away. And I don't mean it'll just be around a little bit. No, it's going to be doing a bulk of the work no matter what. So companies are going to have to figure this out. So companies that are out there saying, hey, I tried it, it didn't work out. Cool. You fell off the horse, dust yourself off again, hop back on and try with a different product or with a different model or with a different way of thinking about the problem, because AI is definitely going to touch that part of your business somehow, some way. And with that, today, we're gonna be done. See you in a little bit.